The following is an American Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of American Matters Media.
This is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la. Little piece of you.
Hey, welcome to Talking Truth to Power, America and the world, at least as long as the World Wide Web survives.
Yeah. Now
So
they're threatening us
freedom
with
news.
cyber terror.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the web could break up. I mean, if this breakup between the civilizations, you know, Russia and China and most of the South, global South on one side, and the U.S., Europe, and the Five Eyes on the other side,
A
it's
multipolar internet world.
yeah, it could be that the World Wide Web will fracture. That's what people are saying. But anyway,
Interesting thought, yeah.
yeah. So the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine is 2 weeks old.
But the good news is we found our biological weapons that we couldn't find in Iraq.
Yeah.
And it turns out they're in Ukraine. So saith Russia this morning that they have found our biological weapons in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yes. And Victoria Nuland confirmed that yes, those labs are there.
Now, who put that question in Rubio's ear yesterday?
I don't know.
Was that the CIA? Was that the military wing?
Somebody wants to get in front of the narrative.
You think
know what
that's
I mean?
it?
Yeah, I think so.
You are so clever.
Yeah. And then, you know, Rubio asked her, you know, like one rapidly anti-Russian neocon to another.
Uh-huh. Yeah, right. Except he's not a CFR member.
He's not.
She
yeah.
is.
She is, yeah.
So
But he
he
is.
might be a wannabe, but he,
Remember, he predicted Russian paratroopers would land in Cuba.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, so he says, if there's a leak, it's Russia's fault, right? And she said, oh yes, it'd be Russia's fault.
Yeah. Well, that was a scripted event, it seemed like to me.
Yes.
Did you notice the responses?
Yeah.
The way they went down? Yeah, it seemed like it was all scripted.
Yep, like I said, they want to get in front of the narrative, but now, and then China chimed in. And,
China chimed?
China chimed, yeah. They demanded America be transparent. Where did we hear that word about China before?
Huh.
The America be transparent about over 300 labs in 30 countries is what they said. Yeah, I mean, so
It's perfect for them, yeah.
if the virus was man-made in a lab, now the question is, which lab?
Yeah, because they're all over the place.
Yeah, I know. And they're all surrounding like Iran and China and Russia. You know, it's surely a coincidence. There's a lot of research has to be done on these things.
But you know what I'm really concerned about?
What's that?
Is the spread of the bird flu that's coming in America now. It's
Yeah.
as if we didn't have enough going on, right?
Oh gosh.
Poultry shortages.
Huh. Oh man, there's going to be a lot of shortages. We got to fess up here.
That's how it looks, yeah.
You know, and I still heard Geraldo use that hackneyed phrase. I think it was yesterday on the 5 that Russia's a gas station with nukes. I mean, they still believe
Still
that.
using that.
They don't know that Russia is now the world's largest exporter of wheat and about
Fertilizer.
almost half of fertilizer,
Yeah.
titanium, aluminum. I mean,
Well, that's why raw materials took off this week in the markets.
oh yeah, the commodities are going way up. And the equities, they recovered a little bit today, but they've been going down.
Plenty of downside there.
Yeah.
But let's be fair. The Nasdaq's in bear market territory already,
Mm-hmm.
so the other averages are going to have to catch up.
Yeah, and the semiconductors, you know, we thought we were going to get the Taiwanese to come to America. We built a plant for them, but the latest news I heard is most of them are deciding to relocate to China, to the mainland.
Well, they'll pick up camouflage uniforms and firearms.
Yeah. Oh, man. And then Lady Lindsay. Lady Lindsay was in the news, yes. Senator Lady Lindsey Graham called for a Russian Brutus to assassinate Vladimir Putin.
He just said what everybody was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I mean, we always think that.
Yeah.
But then right afterwards he said that Russians will destroy Ukraine like they destroyed Aleppo. Remember Aleppo? The left was all really concerned about Aleppo.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, and in fact, they did not destroy Aleppo. They left it in pretty good shape. It was reopened to the outside world within months of the victory there. On the other hand, American wars are characterized by shock and awe tactics, massive bombardment and airstrikes. It is America in the Middle East who targeted civilians indiscriminately, not the Russians in Syria. Look at the 10 years of no-fly zones in Iraq, and then shocking off for 30 days, then total destruction of Fallujah and Mosul, and then later in Syria, total destruction of Raqqa. See, the globalists, their tactic is deflect and project. So they...
Wait, let me write that down.
Yeah, that's their playbook. You know, Victoria Nuland says we have the Russian playbook, but, you know, this is their playbook.
You know, she was in that conspiracy of the PP tapes and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
She's part of that Russian hoax.
Yeah, so was Snake Sullivan.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to imagine that these people are just still, you know, in their positions, you know.
I know
They're not liabilities.
No.
How can that be? The American people...
because they're fulfilling the agenda and promoting the narrative.
Yeah,
That's
they're
why.
doing their jobs already. It's up to the American people to clean house.
Yes. If the Republicans can get 60, 70 seats, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the next couple of years.
I think there'll be articles of
Impeachment, yes.
within weeks of the election. I don't think they'll wait till the inauguration. I think that'll be...
Mm-hmm.
By that I mean when their oaths of office. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure Marjorie Taylor Greene already has it written.
Oh yeah, she's got a draft already. No doubt about it.
This is total war on the American people. Unbelievable. Welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor. I'm here with Leland Faegre, my co-host, and we have Shanimal Lawson working behind the boards.
Thank God.
Yes.
Hey, thanks, man.
And before we get into this next segment, we have two new members to our Talking Truth to Power Facebook page.
Oh, excellent.
CJ Johnson and Susan Rublewski.
Welcome.
Sounds Polish.
Yeah, okay. That's where Kamala is now.
Yeah, that's right. She arrived this morning. Or
she's going to
right
give him a
about now,
geography lesson.
Yeah, right. It's a smaller country in Europe next to another small country. Something along those lines?
Yeah, that big country is going to attack the small country.
She's very good.
Yeah.
That's why she's vice president.
Yes. Not for long, I hope. Can they impeach him both at once?
You know, that's a good question.
Then if there's a Republican Speaker of the House, he would be next.
Well, you know, if the Republican Speaker of the House is Donald Trump,
yeah, then that would be fantastic.
the succession takes him to the Oval Office. Literally.
Literally.
I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be more discussion of that.
Yeah, that must be the plan.
It really should be, I think.
Yeah.
Why not? What have we got to lose?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So the Western media, you know, tactically speaking, if you want to speak about tactics,
Oh yeah, definitely wanted to talk about tactics. Yeah, glad you brought it up.
There's not one mention on any of the mainstream media about what's happening in the east of Ukraine.
That's right. There's a complete blackout about it, and has been for
For the whole
7
thing.
years.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. And you have to go to Russia Today, which is why they hate Russia Today, or, or several other outlets. I found an Indian YouTube show. Republic World is a station, and it's fantastic. They have, how Indians talk loud all the time?
Did you see that one clip?
I'm telling you, sir.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, did you see that one clip that Bongino pointed out? And it's Dr. Paul's sidekick on the.
Oh, McMaster. Daniel McMaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was quite something. And that was an Indian host.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're good. He shouts down everybody. He have Ukrainians on, Russians on, British on, Americans on. It's really fun at that station. It's much more fun than mainstream media.
Oh yeah. Who watches the established media anymore?
I know, it's awful.
When's the last time you actually sat down and put on NBC News while you watched dinner?
I know.
Who does that?
No. How can
If
you?
it accidentally comes on, I immediately change it.
Put on the Cartoon
I rest my
Network,
case.
it's more real. So the thing is though that what you got General Jack McKean and you've got General Kellogg. You have all these generals coming on and saying the Russians are running out of gas and they're surrendering.
Well, they all come from this unipolar mindset.
Exactly.
So, and I'm referring, of course, to Putin's inexplicable and totally unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, a totally peaceful, Nazi-free country, which was just sitting there minding its own non-Nazi business, singing Kumbaya and so on, and not in any way collaborating with or being cynically used by global cap to menace and eventually destabilize Russia so that the global cap boys can get back in there and resume the Caligulan orgy of privatization they enjoyed throughout the 1990s. And now just McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Pepsi, we're out of here.
Right. Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
I think the Russians will be the healthiest and most well-informed people on the planet.
Yeah. They won't be able to go to the bank, but
they rolled out those Chinese credit cards
Yeah,
in
that's
a day
true.
or two.
yeah. I saw a
Unipass,
picture of it.
maybe, or Union Pass, I think they call it. And they're used all over Asia. I mean,
So they'll use the Sino credit for a while until they can get back on their feet? Is that
I don't know how.
Will Xi do
far-
that for him?
What?
Will Xi do that for him?
Yeah, he
Oh, okay.
already has.
Okay.
Yeah, they're best friends now, thanks to us.
We pushed Putin into his arms.
Yeah. So the thing is, what they're doing is the largest Ukrainian army is not around Kyiv or
It's
around, no, it's not around Kharkov, which is the only thing the mainstream media talks about. It's actually in the east, and they've now been encircled by the Russian military. They're in the cauldron, and the Russian military is going to start cooking. They'll give everybody a chance to surrender and lay down their arms, but if they don't, they're going to be annihilated. And
I just think the leadership there was just so dreadful that got them into that.
yes,
Got their own people into that.
Mhm.
Just
And
really
then-
shameful.
yeah, and then once that army is gone, I think Zelensky will have to surrender. I don't know what else he could do.
They'll probably just send over a limousine.
Yeah, Zelensky made another speech from his bunker in Warsaw today. He, but he says,
Was it a Jewish bunker?
well, we're going to get into that in Jews in the News a little bit, but with the U.S. is very happy to cheer on regime change wars, except when it happens to their guys. Huh? Then they kind of freak out. Oh man! But the
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Sign me up.
but it's really tragic though to have all these conservatives in America, these sending gun companies sending 1 million bullets over there, and there's a few people that want to go join up. I mean, that's their privilege.
I think it just makes them feel better. I think that's what it is,
And they just don't understand. They have no concept, and it's because they watch Fox News and the Republicans. That's what they're pushing. We got to be tougher. We got to escalate. It's only when Tulsi Gabbard gets on there that they have any sense at all.
Yeah.
Or Tucker Carlson especially. So.
Yeah, it's good to have her on our side because she's very likely someone who can instruct them well about how we got here. By the way, does she turn up on CNN these days?
I think
Probably
she's still
not,
persona non grata over there.
Yeah, I don't think she's an official contributor to Fox, but I don't think she turns up on CNN anymore.
No. It's only a matter of time before she changes her the letter after
Same
her
with
name.
Manchin.
Yeah. Yeah. But Joe Rogan is pushing a DeSantis Gabbard ticket.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. I haven't heard that, but I don't. I can't imagine how that goes over with it. How many listeners does he have?
11 million a show.
Heaven knows why that is. I mean, I'm sure he's fine and everything, but I mean, I don't know why he has that many people listening. He must really, moderate his positions for the sake of an audience.
Yeah, he's very pleasant to listen to, but he asks good questions.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we don't see any scenes of what's going on there. We don't see the destruction. We don't see the humanitarian aid. And then there's the question of the mass graves that they uncovered, and they're digging them up and reburying them with Orthodox crosses on each one, trying to do DNA searches for their names. None of this gets any coverage in the U.S. media. None of it. Ethnic Russian mayor of a town in there was kidnapped and murdered, and his body was left in the street. You didn't hear anything about that.
Actually, I think I did hear about that.
Oh, you did?
That was from the east side of the country.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But not a lot. It wasn't
No.
given a lot of coverage.
But we have seen more of the Nazis, although they don't exist.
That's right. No, they don't. Yeah.
And we saw them taking credit for the Maidan. That's if you watch Jimmy Dore or a bunch of other shows, you can catch them. And they say even though we're only 10%, if it wasn't for us, the Maidan would have turned into a gay parade. That's what they say.
Yep.
Yep.
Got to feel good about that.
Yep. And so Ukraine is cut off from the Black Sea. There are Russian boats already in Odessa harbor. So, and then the troops are moving along there. Although Jack Keane doesn't seem to understand that. I don't know how come they didn't run out of gas, but they seem to be on the move.
And what's Erdogan? What's his position here in all of this as a NATO member?
As a NATO, yeah, I know, but
pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, he refused to close the Straits of Dardanelles,
right?
Which,
and Poland washes its hands of it by sending the MiGs over to Germany. So much for the fractures in the NATO alliance. Huh?
Der Spiegel reports that 70% of the arms that Germany is sending are obsolete and or non-functional.
Just whatever they had in the warehouse, right?
Yeah, exactly. Vladimir Putin received the Nobel Prize in Medicine for ending the COVID pandemic?
I did not.
Yes, he did.
Huh. Yeah.
And did you read the new CDC guidelines about what to do during a nuclear attack?
I did. You have to wear a face mask.
You have to wear. Well, that's kind of sensible, but you also have to socially.
Yeah, that's
you also
sensible.
have to socially distance.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one. Yeah. Yes. Well, we would probably have been socially distancing anyways, would we not? I think. It's just the way we do things here in America. Yeah.
And a court ordered Pfizer to release the list of side effects from its vaccine. 8 pages, single spaced.
Wow.
Of reactions that people have had to the vaccine.
Oh yeah. That's the CDC guidance.
Yeah.
You know? What a sham. I mean, I think the American people are just sick of the litany of lies.
Exactly.
They've just had it.
The empire of lies,
Yeah.
as Vlad said.
And I think Ron Paul has repeated that expression as well.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when Ronald Reagan called Russia the evil empire and all that. Now that tables have turned.
That empire has moved west.
Yes. And then in 1997, which was, 3 years BP before Putin.
BP. So it's not British Petroleum.
No, it's
okay.
before Putin.
I see.
The Russians said if you keep pushing NATO to the east, it's going to threaten us, and we're going to align with China. And he said, well, good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, they thought they had control of China, and they lost control of China a long time ago. They brought them in, ingratiated themselves, and sure, we'll do it your way.
Signed them up with the WTO.
Nod. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, first of all, it was most favored nation status. They gave them most favored nation status, and it just went from there. Did it ever?
Neoliberalism. It's all about spreading liberal democracy across the planet. But it's also about integrating more and more countries into the open international community. And it's integrating more and more countries into international institutions like the WTO. You know who was opposed to all that?
Among others, who do you have in mind?
Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. That's why they couldn't stand him.
And the Export-Import Bank and all of the integration that has happened over the past generation or more has been, all of us who love sovereignty and nation states would have a problem with all of that.
Yeah. Well, now Putin is, that evil Putin he's fracturing the whole thing.
Yeah.
The empire is disappearing in 2 weeks.
Well, let's see how long this lasts. I still say there is going to be a great accommodation, and there could be still a false flag that sets up 3.
Oh, yeah. There's still a lot of things that can happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it looks...
Because it's their table, It's the United States, Russia, and China. It's their table at the Security Council.
Yeah.
So.
But, I mean, as far as the sanctions go, the only country in Southeast Asia that is sanctioning is Singapore. Every other country, no sanctions. And then as far as Eastern Asia, you've got Korea and Japan sort of kind of sanctioning, but they're kind of asking, Putin is keeping a list. He's writing down who's naughty and
checking
who's nice.
it twice.
Yeah, checking it twice. And South Korea and Japan are on the list, but they're kind of wavering and kind of saying, maybe can we get off this somehow? And then you've got Europe.
There does not appear to be an immediate off ramp to this episode we're experiencing.
Yeah, I know it's
It has to play out.
I mean, the off ramp was really quite easy. All Biden has to do is tell Zelensky, you're not going to be in NATO, and you ought to recognize Crimea as Russia, and recognize the twin babies.
Simple.
Yeah. That's all it is. but instead they're escalating. They refuse to back down. They double down all the time. That's what they do.
And so you'd love to be a fly on that wall to understand what was going on in the Zelensky sphere of influence. You know, did they think that we'd have their back?
He must
Or
have.
did we give them him the impression that we would have his back? I mean, I don't know what, but
I know.
it doesn't seem to be a plausibility at this point. But
the way he's ranting and raving about NATO and all that, I mean, he must have thought that we would have his back.
But we are an empire of lies. Why would anybody believe us
I
at this
know.
point?
After so many times we've deserted our so-called allies.
Since 1947.
Just ask Noriega.
Yeah, right.
He goes
He's
back
one.
that far.
Yeah. He's one of the bigger fish. Yeah.
Yes. And Saddam Hussein was our buddy.
Yep. And even Gaddafi, you could make a case. You know,
Yeah.
he had walked away from terror.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We still decided to disembowel him,
Uh-huh.
just as a way to ingratiate ourselves. Oh man.
But you have to remember what Madeleine Albright said. She said, "We are the indispensable nation.
Yeah.
We stand taller. We see further. We have the right to transform countries all around the world to liberal democracy."
She said the right.
Yeah,
We
the
have the
right. We
rights.
have the right.
Mhm.
That's right.
That's how they think.
Yeah, that's how they think, and they don't give a flying what
This
about
is-
the ordinary people in the country.
This is what arrogance is.
Yes. And the one thing that's missing from all this is tolerance. So they that's at the heart of classical liberalism is tolerance and limited government. If you have limited government, then it can't impose its will on the population. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't. That the whole premise of the nation state after the 30 years religious wars was that you can't solve everything with reason. You can't figure out which religion is right, if any, or which ethnicity is better than any other. So it's built on conflict, but the genius was that you sort of mitigate the conflict by tolerance and having a very small central state or federalized states
Right.
that
was the framers'
can't impose.
admonition to the future. Was
Right.
that you don't let government do just anything.
I know exactly.
I mean, I often refer to the blood alcohol level. Why is that determined in D.C.?
Uh-huh.
It's insane.
I know.
Where does it say that in the Constitution? 4 pages.
No.
Yeah, 4 pages of parchment. But where's the blood alcohol level in that Constitution?
Where is the word equity
Yeah, or democracy.
or democracy? Yeah,
Not there.
not in the Constitution.
You know why, don't you?
Because they hated democracy.
Because truth is treason in an empire of lies.
Yes, exactly. Gosh, it's of course, nothing that they've tried has actually worked. And
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if they had something that they could share with us that it was worked really well, we could talk about it. I'd still be opposed to it, but
yeah. But the thing is that individualism is a Western European frame of mind, and if it's tolerant and it can be universal. Individualism, you can see that everybody in the world is individually, a person and deserving of respect. But when it becomes intolerant, then it fails. However, it's almost exclusively a European frame of mind. Most of the world is not individualistic.
it's not.
No, they're nationalistic. Yeah, so they believe that people are mostly social animals, that they are conditioned by the society that they live in. And, individualism is there, but it takes a back seat to the family and then the nation. But so liberal hegemony failed because they oversold individual rights to apply to everybody and to be, forced on people with, with guns and bombs and everything else. But when they
Lockdowns.
right, when individualism comes up against nationalism, nationalism is going to win, because nationalism is the most powerful,
Very powerful.
very powerful, the most powerful idea on the planet. And so is so nationalism and realism are going to trump individualism and idealism all the time. And if you don't know who says that, I recommend you go on YouTube and look up John Mearsheimer. He's a
Is this where we transition to Mearsheimer?
yeah. This
Okay.
is, I tried to.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to condense it into 15 minutes, but
Well,
look up John Mearsheimer on the YouTube.
well leftist hack Joy Reid says the only reason we care about Ukraine is because we're one.
Hey, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, my co-host, Leland Faegre. And, we
Sounds Jewish.
Hey, and I guess we have to give the ADA,
ADL?
IDL disclaimer. It's required.
They have their goons in here just like that.
So we recognize that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, and it's America's best ally in the Middle East, even though it didn't sanction Russia. And
Point.
and they don't throw gay people off the roofs. And each and every time, whenever we observe Jews behaving badly, we must always remember it's always our fault. So the question of the week is, how can Ukraine be a Nazi country when it has a Jewish president, Zelensky?
Yeah, we talked about that.
So the thing is, in the West, we have this collective guilt that World War II is associated with the Holocaust. And you notice how everybody, whenever Ukraine has been described more than once, I think even by Trump, as a Holocaust in the last couple of weeks. It's far from the truth. But anyway, in Russia, World War II is still primarily remembered for its Slavic, not Jewish dead. I mean, the Jews say that the Germans killed 6 million, but they killed, 20 or 30 million Russians. And so the support for Ukraine is perfectly compatible with their woke political sensibilities. That's everybody's wearing the blue and yellow,
Emblem.
and you can get the Azov Battalion gear on Amazon now.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
I haven't been looking for it, but
Yes, you can.
it seems to be everywhere.
That has a Jewish owner, doesn't it? Last
Yeah,
time I
it sure
looked,
does.
yeah. But
My music is
so Mr. Zelensky is Jewish. He's a comedian. He was in a TV show called Servant of the People,
very popular.
which, he played the president. There's also a YouTube of him playing the piano with his penis for 5 minutes. Did you know that?
I did know that. Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah. So anyway,
Quite a pianist.
yeah.
Oh, that's a different word, Shannon.
But how did he come to power? How did he come to power? Nobody's talking about the oligarchs since in the last 2 weeks.
I want to know.
Yes. So his oligarchical patron is one Ihor Kolomoisky. And Mr. Kolomoisky, although he lives in Israel, owns Ukraine's biggest bank, plus airlines, huge stakes of media, and other companies. And he was actually founded one of those neo-Nazi groups, the Dnipro Special Task Patrol Police Battalion, it calls itself. And it's been accused of blocking food and attempting to starve the Russian-speaking populations of the separatist republics of Donetsk and Luhansk.
In the Donbass?
In the Donbass.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he also is accused of offering bounties of thousands of dollars for Russian separatists. So they were, his main deal was to keep the violence in the Donbass and not let it spread a little bit further west to Dnipro. And so he got together with another Jewish oligarch named Nahadli Korban, and Korban was later investigated for embezzlement and exiled to Israel. Yeah, I know that never happens to Jewish people, but it happened to him. Yes. So they were the ones that labeled Dnipro as a pro-Ukrainian city to protect Kolomoisky's business interests. In 2014, after Crimea voted to join Russia, Russia Today, good thing Russia Today is banned, I'm telling you, reported...
RT, you mean?
RT, yeah. Reported that the authorities would sell the assets that he had in Crimea in order to compensate the residents of Crimea who had been exploited by Kolomoisky's Privat Bank. That's the bank he owns. So
It was a damn good bank at one time.
Yeah. So when President Petro Poroshenko, even though he was Jewish, he nationalized the Privat Bank, and in 2016, and that's when Kolomoisky threw his influence behind his fellow Jew and popular actor Vladimir Zelensky, now a hero and darling of the Western media. Boy, they've really done a PR job with him, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Reagan, the same thing.
Yeah. So
the Americans don't know that Reagan was part of the ADA. It doesn't get any further left than that. You know? They describe him as a former Democrat, but that does him a service.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't dishonor him, but his membership in the ADA would, among other things.
So Zelensky's character in the situation comedy Servant of the People was a high school history teacher who won the presidential election after a viral video showed him ranting against government corruption in Ukraine. And so he was socially engineered into the position. And
government corruption in the Ukraine?
Yeah, I know it's rare, but apparently...
Yeah. Where's my dog whistle?
Once in office, he nominated another fellow Jew, Vladimir Groisman, as prime minister, and they targeted Poroshenko, setting a sequence of events that would result in the miraculously reversed, the nationalization of Privat Bank and the return of the bank to Kolomoisky.
Huh.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
In October 2021, it was revealed via the Pandora Papers that Zelensky, who constantly denies he was a puppet of the Jewish oligarch, received $40 million into offshore accounts from funds linked to Kolomoisky. But, corruption in the Ukraine is very rare.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, what does that have to do with America? Because Kolomoisky laundered his Ukraine money into the U.S. and contributing to the Rust Belt decline. Specifically, the money was transferred to one of the oligarch's companies, and his operators shut down Warren Steel in Ohio in 2016, owing millions in property taxes, utility bills, and supplies. The workers were left without medical coverage for weeks because he didn't pay the insurance premium. And a lot of
you're supposed to pay the insurance.
Yeah. But a lot of people were very angry, said Nancy Weselick, a former IT manager for the factory. So, Faegre Shandor, a professor at Uzhgorod University and advisor to the government on tourist development, has described Kolomoisky as a leech who sucks our blood here and puts it in Switzerland. This leech has also made a game for years of poking Vladimir Putin, stating publicly in 2014 that Putin was a schizophrenic shorty.
See, this is the kind of thing that I think got Putin riled up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Actually got riled up because he ripped off one of Putin's favorite oligarchs, Abramovich. He publicly said he was mad about that. So
there's quite a number of those guys over there.
And it was Kolomoisky who started the idea that Putin wanted to recreate the Russian Empire or the USSR, and that would plunge the world into catastrophe. So that's where that trope came from. Now, what is this? Well, the thing about oligarchs and the international Jewish community is increasingly active in trying to protect the oligarchs on both sides of the issue, both Russian oligarchs, Ukrainian oligarchs. Wherever there's an oligarch, you can bet that the Jews are trying to protect them. Because
you are so cynical.
Yeah. Primarily because oligarchs are often extremely generous to Jews. You know, Jews are famous for their philanthropy, but, you know, did you ever realize that about 90% of it goes to fellow Jews?
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah.
Still, it's philanthropic.
Yeah, they take care of their own.
Right.
That's for sure. So the oligarchs, in effect, facilitate the transfer of large volumes of money, often obtained illegally or laundered, from Gentiles to Jews.
Huh.
And, you know, nobody talks about that.
You know what else people aren't talking about?
What?
The FBI, the jackbooted thugs at the FBI are still at it. They raided the home of Proud Boys chairman Enrique Tarrio at 6 a.m. this morning, just like Roger Stone, right?
Was CNN
in his
there?
underwear.
In his
And they
underwear.
arrested him despite the fact he wasn't there on January 6th.
Yeah, they have it in for us.